Hiya! Welcome back to Little Reverie. Today's video is going to be a little different than usual. It's a Q&A. Mew Mint is coming real soon, I swear. But for today, I'll be answering some questions as a way of celebrating our 1K milestone. Okay, we technically hit that a little over 300 subs ago, but you know, I'm better late than never. Thanks again to each and every one of you. I really do enjoy reading all of your comments, and they never fail to brighten my day. Also, so I won't bore any of you with just me talking, I'll also be making something as I answer your questions. So, what will we be making today, I wonder? If you follow me on Instagram, then you may already have an idea. Yep, we're working with Shrinky Dinks today. More specifically, we'll be making Tokyo Mew Mew charms. I already went ahead and roughly sketched out my patterns for the charms, which are all the basic Mew Mew's weapons, plus Masha made it into the mix as well. At the time of recording this, I was actually waiting on some materials, so I ended up spending another day sketching the remaining weapons and variations, such as the Aqua Rod, as well as the cat versions of Ichigo and Ryo. Well, let's get this out of here for now. These kinda took me a while, I'm not gonna lie. Did I get carried away? Oh yeah, maybe. I was about to go and sketch up a template for the other form of the straw bell, but I think I've done enough for now. And just to finalize my patterns, I'm going to go in and line them all with a fine point pen. Okay, you don't need that many, Alex. I just love the inking part of a drawing. It's kind of therapeutic in a way. Don't mess up. Now then, with all the template designs inked, we can get started on drawing the designs on the shrink plastic. As I mentioned, I had been waiting on some materials. I realized at the start of this video I did not have nearly as many colored pencils as I had thought I did, so I went ahead and bought some online. 150 of them. I think I have plenty of variety now. I think there are other materials you can use to color shrink plastic, but colored pencils I think are the most basic one that I know of. And since shrink plastic is very new to me, I wanted to work with something relatively simple and easy. Now then, I'm gonna go ahead and get started on these. It's gonna be a long process. So while I'm working on these, let's begin with the Q&A. Quite a few people have asked, how did you get into doll customizing? Well, I first got introduced to the idea of it from Akameru Kawaii on YouTube, whose videos I've been watching for quite a few years now. From there, I ended up stumbling upon Delightful, Moonlight Jewel, Anastasia Customs, and many more amazing artists. I tend to take up new hobbies that interest me, and doll customizing just really captivated me. Victoria Dixon asks, when did you start to repaint dolls? When it comes to when I got into doll customizing and when I actually started doing it, that's a whole nother thing. I had been interested in the hobby for about a year or so before I even got the materials together. I already had some of the basic materials, I just needed a doll, MSC, and I'd be good to go. And if my personal Instagram account is anything to go by, I think it was January 2018. For those that are curious, this was my first doll, who is, by the way, still incomplete. Her face-up, with the exception of the blushing, is purely acrylic paint. In the beginning, I was really impatient when it came to the watercolor pencils, so I kind of just went in with paint at that time. I don't really have that much of a steady hand, so I'm honestly kind of impressed with the face for a first attempt. I also used yarn wefts for the hair. For a first attempt ever, I think she turned out pretty okay. I really do like her expression though. I did have a set plan for her, which involved her having a flowy pastel rainbow dress, but I just never really got around to it. And she's pretty much just been sitting in the corner of my unfinished shelf ever since. Who knows, maybe she'll appear in another video sometime. If anyone's interested, maybe I could do a video of her getting a new repaint. Next question is by the GME? I'm so sorry if I didn't pronounce that right. Why do you customize dolls, if there's a specific reason? Well, I just really love the concept of customizing a doll. Plus, I'm a major anime fan, and I really loved the idea of turning some of my favorite characters into dolls. On a serious note though, it does help me out a lot. I kind of suffer from depression, but I find that when I'm working on a doll and I get caught up in the process, I don't really have time to think about things that cause my depression. It's a distraction, in other words. A really good one that I thoroughly enjoy. And I can say that ever since I've started this hobby, my emotional state's been in a lot better place. White Rose Ichigo 79 asks, where did you come up with the name of your channel? Okay, so once upon a time, I used to make polymer clay charms and jewelry. Anyway, I had wanted to open an Etsy and sell my work, but I never really did get around to it. Heck, I use Square more than Etsy. Also, fun fact, a couple of years ago I considered starting a channel centered on polymer clay. After starting doll customizing though, I haven't really worked with polymer clay as much. And I still have a lot of stored clay. Even tons of unopened packs. Maybe I really should get back into it. Anyway, when I ultimately decided to start my channel back in December, I was trying to come up with a name, and I did come up with one. But I just felt like I wanted to give Little Reverie a chance, so I stuck with it. As to where Little Reverie came from, I find escape in art and get lost in it. In essence, it is my little reverie. But anyway, yeah, so Little Reverie Studio was the name of my shop. Or, so to speak, it was going to be. Though if I were to open an Etsy eventually, then that would end up being the name, so... What other hobbies do you have? A lot. Basically, mostly art mediums to a degree. There's a reason I'm a fine art major. If I had to narrow it down to a few apart from doll customizing, one other hobby of mine that I've gotten into lately is watercolor. I initially played with it a bit, but I never really got into it, not until I recently had to take a class on it for an art credit towards my degree. In the beginning, I started to feel contempt for it, but then I fell in love with it, to the point that I still will make a painting every now and then. Another hobby I have is collecting merch related to anime and manga, and also Pokemon. Plum Zone also asks, do you collect any dolls? Does hoarding count? Also, welcome to underneath my work desk. Oh yeah, Alex, that really didn't sound weird at all. Apart from my stock box that desperately needs to be upgraded, I have taken an interest in certain Monster High lines. I really love the Haunted line and also the Freak Du Chic line. Right now, I only have Jennifer from that line, but I would really love to get my hands on some other dolls from it as well. In essence, though, I'm probably not what you would call a big collector. Not unless you count my repainted dolls, at least. Next question is by Nibbles Gabe. What is your most favorite doll, and do you have any pets? How many do you have? My most favorite doll, huh? That's a pretty broad term. My favorite doll that I've made, my favorite Monster High doll, or perhaps from other brands? I'll answer for both since I'm unsure. As for my favorite doll that I have made, I would definitely have to say Ichigo so far. I was really happy with how she turned out, and she's just so cute. Plus I had a lot of fun making her. My favorite Monster High doll though is definitely Vandala Doubloons. I just love her soft green and pink color scheme. Plus I love pirates. Seriously, Mattel, bring the original Monster High back. The craftsmanship is just so stunning. Now then, do I have pets? Can I help you? Why, yes. Yes, I do. How many pets do I have? I have 4. 3 cats and a big doggo. First, we have Miley, or Mai as I like to call her. She pretty much runs the house. Next, we have Allie. She's an extremely skittish kitty that is so full of love that she wants attention 24/7. Next, we have Lucy. She's a mix between a lab and a Brittany Spaniel. She's a lap dog despite being over half my size. Lastly, the newest addition to the family, Aki. He's a sly little fella that acts cute when he wants something. He also really enjoys messing with me when I film, so expect him to butt in at times. He's a mess, but I really love my sloppy little assistant. Also, a little fun fact, his name is Japanese for autumn. Nerdy's Doll Creations asks, where do you find inspiration for your doll projects? Do you ever do collaborations or swaps? How much time do you really spend on a custom? A lot of my inspiration comes from anime or manga. I also love to look at concept or fan art to stir up some ideas if I'm going to go with an original character. And of course, there's also Pinterest. Now then, as for some collaborations or swaps that I do, I have a few collabs planned right now. A Halloween collab I am hosting, and a certain Pokemon collab with a friend of mine on Instagram. I also have a Christmas collab planned with another doll artist here on YouTube. I haven't done a swap yet, but I think I may hold off on those for a while. As for how much time I spend on a custom, it depends. From my past experience, a fully customized doll can take me anywhere from 1 week to 3 weeks. For example, a simple doll like Noelle took me about a week to make, while a more detailed one like Ichigo took me about 2.5 weeks. Poof McFloof. I really love that name. They ask, what is your favorite anime? Oh my, that's a difficult one to narrow down. I have a lot of favorites. Could I just narrow it down to my top 10, please? Let's see. There's Black Cat, 91 Days, Clannad, Sengoku Basara, Shingeki no Bahamut, Wolf's Rain, Psycho Pass, Magi, Inuyasha, Shakugan no Shana. Yeah, and the list could go on and on, honestly. If I was forced to choose one of those, probably have to say Inuyasha. It was the very first anime that I ever watched where I actually knew it was anime. Technically, my first ever anime is Sailor Moon. But Inuyasha is what helped me to discover anime to begin with. It's pretty much a good classic and an old favorite of mine. And lastly, Ronile Dolls asks, who's your favorite Pokemon? And again, can I just narrow it down to my top 10? There's so many good ones, it's so hard for me to choose just one. Vulpix would arguably be my all-time favorite, since it was the first Pokemon card I ever got. And I was kind of obsessed with those as a kid. But a very close second is Lucario. I also love Espeon, Jolteon, Gengar, Gardevoir, Flygon, Suicune, Grovyle? So many more. I'm also starting to really like Scorbunny, so I think it's obvious I'll be choosing that one as my starter when Sword and Shield release. And I think that pretty much wraps up all the questions, yep. Alrighty, now that all of the designs have been drawn and cut out, let's bake them. Once they were all cooled, I glazed them with some Mod Podge. I may have gotten a little heavy-handed with the pencils, so when I went over it with the glaze, it smeared some of the pigment, which was really noticeable on the transparent sections of the charms. So to fix that, I decided to go ahead and go over it with white paint. I think it came out pretty good, and it makes the colors really pop. These were a really fun project, and maybe I'll work more with shrink plastic in the future. I think later, when I find the time, I'll probably make some cute matching keychains for these charms. I really enjoyed answering some of your questions today. And once again, thank you all for your support. Mew Mint's repaint video will be up really soon, so I hope you guys look forward to her. And with that, from Little Reverie to you, may you all have a wonderful day. Until next time!